Do we need to use the big microphone? You're going to be okay? Yeah? Okay. Apologies. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 3 of the retreat. Apologies to those people who didn't wake up this morning. Maybe my bell ringing wasn't strong enough. I'm testing. I don't want to wake up the whole neighborhood. I just want to wake up our place. So I'll hit it a bit harder tomorrow morning. What are we doing? First of all, let me congratulate you. I think you're all doing a wonderful job. I think you're all working hard. Only 1 or 2 of you have been sneaking off to your tent or sneaking off to your room. That's normal. The first 2 days it's very tiring. But it will get better. This morning I want to talk about a very important topic, something that you'll all be experiencing quite a lot. We've been, as we said yesterday, looking at the first foundation of mindfulness, the body, its sensations and postures, and its movements, bending, stretching, turning, crouching, lifting up, all those activities, even blinking should be noted. When your mindfulness becomes very powerful in the present moment, you'll be able to notice when your eyes have just blinked. You'll be able to note and know that. Yesterday we looked at the second foundation, Vedana, or feeling, pleasantness and unpleasantness, and the important role that that plays in determining our experience in life. What are your reaction patterns to pleasantness? What are your reaction patterns to unpleasantness? Can you see that your reaction patterns cause suffering in your life? This morning I want to look at one of the topics in the 4th foundation of mindfulness. The 4th foundation of mindfulness is called Dhammanupassana, contemplation of Dhammas, contemplation of things, contemplation of mental phenomena. Normally it's types of thought patterns. On the retreat here, hopefully you will have begun to notice that you actually think quite a lot. Not always useful thinking, mostly just wandering around in useless topics, going over the same old thing again and again. This 4th foundation of mindfulness is to directly observe the contents of your mind, the thought patterns of your mind, phenomena, dhammas, things which are arising and passing away. The group we're going to look at this morning is called the Pancha Nivarana, Nivonha. It means the 5 hindrances. To say that the 5 hindrances cause trouble and obstruction to our life would be a great understatement. The 5 hindrances cause a great deal of trouble in our life, both on the surface level as a person. They give trouble, they obstruct our enjoyment of life, they obstruct our understanding of life. At a deeper level, the 5 hindrances are responsible for blocking the arising of wise attention. When the 5 hindrances, and we'll explain what they are in a moment, these 5 groups of mental states. They block wise attention from arising. And when wise attention can't arise, ignorance is very, very stable. Ignorance is at the base of the arising of sense of self. Ignorance is not knowing and not understanding the nature of reality. What blocks us from understanding the nature of reality is the swirling of these mental states, the swirling of these 5 hindrances in the mind. You'll all be very familiar with them. You live with them daily. You've been identifying with them, taking them personally, even concluding that that's part of my personality. That's who I am. But the 5 hindrances are not who you are. The 5 hindrances are very impermanent mental states. They arise and they pass away. They're conditioned, dependently arisen, ultimately very unsatisfactory, and they're not you. Although by holding on to them, you do create your personality. How the 5 hindrances display in your words and in your actions. You actually start to become the 5 hindrances. There's a saying by the Buddha, whatever a monk frequently thinks and ponders upon, that will become the inclination of his mind. When we frequently think about something again and again and again, what are we doing? We're conditioning our mind. When we condition the mind by those thought patterns, we actually become what we've been thinking. This is the force of intention and the force of conditioning. So I'd like you to start paying attention and noticing if these 5 hindrances, these 5 obstructions are arising while you're meditating, and most importantly, arising when you're walking around doing other activities as well. It's actually a little bit late to turn our attention to these 5 hindrances. We should have been monitoring them a few days before the retreat, just learning the trouble that they can cause. All the trouble that you've been perceiving on the retreat so far will just be these 5 hindrances. You got caught up in them. They arise in the mind and you think, oh, there's a nice hindrance, I'll pick that up and cause myself some dukkha. That's not what you should be doing. Stop dukkhaing yourself. Stop taking things personally. When these mental states arise, I want you to note them. Note them and know them. Know what is present, what is the object of consciousness in this present moment experience, and then step back from that content and see the content as an object. See it as something which has arisen and is passing away. It's over there. You can note it as there is the hindrance. You just create some space between the knowing and observing mind and the object which is coming, the content of your mind, the content of your experience. Our experience is always one of content of the mind, nama rupa, and consciousness. Both of them arise at the same time, exist in the same space, and pass away at the same time. This is happening continuously throughout our lives. I want you to create some space. Note what is happening. Don't become involved. Don't become upset. Don't take it personally. Don't take it seriously. Give it some space. We're not trying to get rid of these things. All we want to do is know and understand them. Through knowing and understanding, they will, like magic, disappear. When something is seen clearly, when something has been vipassana. It's impossible for that object to be a foundation for the sense of me, mine and I, for the sense of self. So our job is to neutralize these hindrances when they arise. Some of them are quite sticky. You will get stuck in them, kind of juicy, kind of delightful. Oh, that thought is, oh, I want to have a think about her. I want to have a think about him. Cut it off. Cut it off as quickly as you can. Cut it off using awareness and wisdom. Don't try to cut it off with aversion. We're not trying to push anything away. We're accepting whatever is present. We're noting it and we're knowing it. We're stepping back from any involvement in it. As soon as you let it go, by not taking it as mine, as soon as you do that, it passes away. It only stays if you've subjectified it. Of course, these states come and go. They're impermanent and they're the results of karma. They're arising and passing away. Yes, the objects will come back again. You note them and they go away. We're training. We're learning to do this. Eventually, those mind states which are unwelcome will understand that they're unwelcome and they simply cease to arise. We've managed our mind. We've become a master of our own experience. So they're called the hindrances because they obstruct us from the present moment. These 5 swirling mind states block us from entering into the present moment. They obstruct us. They hinder us. But we shouldn't look at them as anything different from any other object that's arising. They're just an object to be noted and known and let go of. What we need to do is break the cycle of habituation. We all have certain things we like to think about. We need to block that. Block it using awareness and wisdom. The first hindrance is called kamachanda. Kamachanda, kama means sensuality, and chanda means desire. So it's an energy of the mind, it's a mental energy which is desirous of sensuality. Kamachanda. It's an energy reaching out to try and enjoy the pleasure of objects of the sense doors. Whether it's a visible sight or a sound, music, or whether it's a nice perfume or a flavoursome meal or the sensuous touch of your lover, whatever it is. Kamachanda. It's the energy and desire to want to enjoy objects of the sense doors. When we're meditating, sometimes we think about food, or we think about this person, or we think about this particular place. We're wanting to go there. We're wanting to enjoy that special coffee or whatever it is that you're thinking about. Sensual desire, it's known as. It's the energy of their mind which is wanting something, yearning, it's seeking, it's going out. It doesn't have it here, but it wants it. Look out for that kamachanda. Make a note of it. Wanting, wanting, desiring, desiring, liking, whatever it could be. Sometimes it becomes very passionate. You can feel it in the body. You can feel it's so passionate in the mind that it creates a sensation in the body. Of course, the mind and the body are intimately connected with each other. Any mental state has an effect on the body, and any effect in the body has an effect on the mind. Now, these things are conditioning each other. Look out for that desire to get something. It's reaching out. We all have different objects that we reach out for. Can be different, a person, a lover. For many people it's money. They find money the thing that most excites them. Make a note if that's what's exciting you. It's not the object that's important, it's the level and state of desire. It could be something very simple. Oh, I wish I could just have a paper and a pen. Whatever. Okay, if you need a paper and pen, you can ask somebody, ask Gary, and he'll give it to you. Wrong example. But if you're just wanting something because you're used to it, maybe it's your telephone or something like that, you really want to have a look at your Instagram account and your mind's just thinking about it, you're wondering how many likes, do they have likes on Instagram? How many of those things, how many delights you get? The mind that goes out, wanting to get something, wanting to achieve or become something even. We become something through the sensual objects that are around us. Sometimes it's a refinement in sensuality that we long for. We have a pair of polyester pants and we want cotton pants. We have a pair of rubber flip-flops and we want a leather pair. We have a one-bedroom apartment, we want a three-bedroom house. We have a motorbike and we want a car. Whatever it is, look out for where your mind goes. We all go to different places. But the energy of wanting and desiring is the same energy. And that's what we want to be noting. So I want you to note this desire, not the object. You don't have to sit there noting pizza, pizza, pizza. Not that. Note the wanting, wanting, wanting. The Buddha gives a simile of a pond of water which has had some coloured dye put into it. The pond becomes a particular colour. If you put red dye in it, it becomes red water. That's what the mind becomes like when sensual desire is in it. It's coloured. We can't see into the mind because it's all coloured. That colour has got in the way of seeing things clearly. So we need to note whenever there's wanting or whenever there's any desire, and let it go. It'll come back again, you note it and let it go. It'll come again until you get bored of entertaining this thought. You can count how many times you do it. When you get up to about 40 or 50, you'll lie down on the floor and start laughing. Know and understand that you're actually crazy. Just a little bit. The second hindrance is known as Vyapada. Vyapada means ill will or aversion. It's the energetic state of mind which is pushing things away. It's the opposite of Kamachanda. Kamachanda wants to enjoy those things, trying to get stuff. Vyapada is the energy of the mind which is resisting. It's pushing things away. When something happens, there could be a sound. It lasts half a second. Bang! But then that sound shakes through the mind. If that sound is associated with unpleasantness or unpleasant feeling, then there's going to be a reaction to it. It may be a mild irritation. Make a note of that. Irritated, irritated. It may be something frustrating. Make a note of that. Maybe somebody in the hall is annoying you. This person's moving around, this person's walking too slow, this person's eating too fast, this person takes too long in the bathroom, this person... Have a look if your mind is doing that. Is it becoming annoyed with things? Don't become upset if it is. You're in a very different situation than what you normally are. Have a look at your mind state. Now is your perfect opportunity to look at your reaction patterns. What is the quality of your experience? When you're not distracted by your telephone, when you're not distracted by your lover, when you're not distracted by your work and your responsibilities and your family, when you're really alone by yourself, just with your mind, what is your reaction pattern? Don't beat yourself up, don't become upset, you're not a bad person. But just, this is your opportunity in this lifetime to really have a look at your mind. Is there irritation, annoyance, frustration, anger, even to the point of hatred? Make a note if there's any hatred. Make a note if there's a thought of some violence. That's the worst manifestation of it. If that guy slams his door again one more time, have a look at that, if it's coming up in your mind. It's often reflection on objects of resistance that cause the most trouble. There may be something or someone from the past. They come to visit, there's a little story, and then that creates the anger, or that creates the frustration. What is it that is triggering you? I want you to observe this action of triggering and how it causes a lot of suffering in your life. Nobody wants to feel irritated, frustrated, and annoyed. Nobody wants to feel aversion for somebody else. It's bound up with unpleasantness. We don't want that in our lives. Our lives would be better without that. So here we're learning to observe when this energy pops up into the mind. We're catching it as quickly as we can. Don't let it fester and don't feed it. Feeding this type of mind state can be very problematic. It grows bigger and bigger. You start thinking about it, irritated, frustrated, annoyed, angry, to the point you're ready to explode and yell at somebody. This type of mind state, when it's unchecked, leads to wrong speech and wrong action. We can do some very unfortunate things to other people. We can be harmful to other beings because we're not able to manage this trigger point. And it's triggered by, you guessed it, unpleasant feeling. Note unpleasant feeling as soon as it arises in the mind. It may manifest as a physical sensation. You can note that as well. Heart starts to beat a bit faster, breathing gets a bit deeper, your body feels a little bit warmer, you may start to shake a little bit, you may start to froth at the mouth as you become more and more rabid, as the anger and the hatred takes over. Don't let it get to that stage. Don't let a little bit of unpleasant feeling manifest into a full-blown mind state. I hate this place, I've got to get out of here. It's raining, I should be at home. What am I doing here? Don't let that come upon you. Watch it. Watch your reaction patterns. Here, we're studying. We're learning. This meditation hall is your swimming pool. You're learning how to swim here. You're not going to swim here all your life. We're going to send you out into the ocean. You're going to have to swim out there. You're going to have to learn how to manage your mind out there. If you can learn the lessons from this retreat, you'll be in a much better position, not only in your daily life and in your interactions with others, in your relationships, in your work environment, in your business career, but also, of course, your meditation practice goes to the next level. These 5 hindrances have to be eliminated for you to enter into the first jhana, the first deep state of concentration. They need to be noted and known and eradicated, fully let go. Meditation is the process of letting things go. So these first two hindrances are very problematic, cause a lot of trouble for people. This desire to try and get things, or the aversion of pushing things away. Both of these things. Make a note if you start judging. That can be one of the aspects of this second hindrance. Maybe you start blaming others for your situation. It's because of him, because of her. She did it to me. That's why I've got this problem. The outside world is fine. Nothing wrong with it. The problem is your mind. The problem is the way you react and judge and blame other people for things that are going on in your 5 aggregates, for what is being experienced by this nama-rupa unit. It's not the responsibility of others to take care of your mind. It's your responsibility. You were born into this world. You have to learn how to manage it. They don't teach you this stuff at school, unfortunately. If we'd all learnt this when we were 12 years old, the world would be a much better place. Unfortunately, defilements can be quite strong. Make a note if you're resisting and comparing things. Often we make comparisons. This meditation technique is not as good as that technique. This monastery is better than that meditation center. I prefer the teaching of that teacher. I like the food over there. In the other meditation center, it was okay if we went to bed whenever we liked. I like that. Of course you do. So look out for blaming, comparisons, even fear. Fear arising is this type of aversion as well. We have a fear of the unknown. Have a look if your expectations are not being fulfilled. This can be a big one on retreat. You come here, you set aside, right, 10 days, this is my chance, I'm going to get enlightened in these 10 days. You come here, you sit down, I can't even follow 3 times, I'm hopeless, I'm useless, everyone else is doing it except me, I'm the only one. You go into spiraling into this negative state. Look out, see if that starts to happen. I asked you to drop your expectations in the car park. If you have expectations and they're not being fulfilled, what happens? It develops some kind of anxiety. I'm not getting it, it's not working. What happens when you get anxious? Aversion. The mind becomes angry. It's hopeless. And then what happens? Give up. So look out for this. It can destroy your meditation while you're here. Expectations. The sooner you can drop your expectations, and the biggest tip I'll give you this morning, drop your resistance. If you're experiencing resistance to something, resistance means you're pushing back against it. There's something in your environment or something in your mind and you're pushing it back. You're not accepting it. You want it to be gone. You want it to be got rid of. Look out for that. Really note that experience. It's not pleasant. Note the unpleasantness. Note the sensation it delivers to the body when the mind is in this state. It's very important that you at least begin the work of looking at resistance in the mind, because it causes a lot of trouble in our lives. It causes trouble to ourselves, and of course it causes trouble to those around us. Make a note: judging, comparing, disliking, hating, whatever it is, you make a note of it and create space around this state and allow it to pass away. The third hindrance is known as tinamida. Excuse me. Tinamida. Normally translated as sloth and torpor. But nobody knows what that means. So laziness and boredom we translate it as. Have a look at that when it comes into your mind. Some of you have experienced that in the last few days. When boredom arises, when laziness arises, are you going to go into it? Are you going to feed it? What happens when a dog comes to your house for a visit and you throw it some food? It eats it. Comes back tomorrow, doesn't it? If you feed it for 4 or 5 days in a row, guess what? It's living in your house now. Don't feed these mind states. When you feel bored, don't feed it. Boredom is just a mental state. If you're picking up and taking it personally, what are you? You're a boring person. You become boring. What happens if you're feeling tired? Tiredness is just tiredness. It's nothing more than that. If you go into it, if you sink into it and believe that I am so tired, then guess what happens? It multiplies. You'll notice your arms will come down. You start to rock a little bit. Maybe I need some pillows here. That's when you know this hindrance is upon you. Sit up straight. Push your shoulders back. Don't lean on the wall. Sit up. When this hindrance is all over you, it's going to crush your meditation practice. It's going to give you much unpleasantness. You'll be flooded by unpleasant feelings. So sit up and notice when these thoughts start to arise. Maybe some dullness, maybe the mind feels a little bit foggy. It's quite normal to happen in the first 2 days of the retreat. Don't think that you're a lazy person. You're not. You've just been working very hard and you feel tired afterwards. It's normal. But there will be more and more energy generated as the practice continues. Be sure that you are moderate in your eating. Don't eat too much while you're on retreat. It's not necessary to have 2 huge bowls or 3 huge bowls for breakfast and 3 huge bowls for lunch. If you eat too much, what happens? The mind is cloudy, hazy, foggy. It can't focus. The body's very busy digesting too much food. It's not suggested that you eat as much as you can. You just eat as much as you need to maintain the body, to maintain the meditation practice. You'll find if you eat less, your mind will become sharp. Very sharp, in fact. When you live with the meditating monks, they eat very little. They eat once a day. The Buddha recommended to the monks and nuns. He strongly recommended. Monks, I eat at a single session. By doing so, I'm free from illness and affliction. I enjoy health, strength, and a comfortable abiding. Come, monks. eat at a single session. Here we eat 2 sessions, breakfast and lunch. If we take one away, you'll probably become very upset. It's a practice. You've already taken my dinner, don't take my breakfast. Don't worry, we won't. Just give me a coffee. There's time for that after the retreat. So have a look and see if the mind is experiencing states of boredom. Note it. Step out of that engagement. It's not you who are bored, but there is a state of boredom that has arisen. It's an independent mental state. Of course, it's dependently arisen. It's conditioned. It's arising and it's passing away. It won't be here tomorrow. It may not even be here while you're eating your lunch. You won't feel bored, will you? No. You'll be delighting in sensual pleasure. Make sure you note that. So have a look for this third hindrance. If you're feeling very tired, there's a few little things you can do. You can wash your face. You can look out into the sky. Maybe not while it's raining. Don't look at the sun. That's foolish behavior. But look into the bright sky. Flood the mind with some light. If you need to have a wash before this meditation sitting, do that. Splash your face with water. Wet your hair. Some people like to pull their earlobes like this. Apparently that helps you wake up a little bit. When you do that, it doesn't really, but it looks funny when people try to do it. Maybe it works, I don't know. You can try. So this is the third hindrance. Look out for it. If you're being attacked by it, just know that you're being attacked by it. Just knowing that you're being attacked by this hindrance is maybe enough for you to separate yourself from it. When you're in this state, very difficult to shake it off. So we need to step out and look objectively at it. Tiredness and boredom can be fully encompassing. Shake it off. Step out and have a look. See your reactions to it. The fourth hindrance is known as uddhacca kukucca. It means restlessness and worry. This is the type of mind content which is restless, jumping from here and there. It's the wandering mind. The mind which is dancing in the past and dancing into the future, wandering here and there. It's searching for something interesting to think about. It's looking for a little fantasy to engage in. A little fantasy might have a little imagination of what it's going to be like after the coronavirus, where I'm going to live, and all that other stuff. When the mind is experiencing unrest, when it's distracted, when you find yourself fidgeting, when you find yourself looking at a piece of dead skin on your foot, know that you're distracted. Know that I'm picking my nose. What am I doing up there? Stop it. Notice that you're distracted in your meditation practice. Realize that you're going into the past. We said on the first night, the past doesn't exist as an actual thing. The past is just a thought that's arising in the present moment. It has no other objective reality to it than as a thought in your mind. If you don't think it, the past is not existing. It comes into existence when you remember, when you think. So the past is an idea. And the future is also a bunch of ideas. It doesn't have any reality. It's just a thought that's arising in the present moment. The past, the future, and present are all now. They're all arising now. You should see them as such. The idea that there was a past and there's a future is purely a conceptual idea based upon the planet going around the sun. Very strange that we've managed to bring this into our life. That the planet revolving around the sun would create this system of time. And that we would divide the world into past, present and future. It's just a concept. If you're present and you're knowing in the present moment, you'll see this very clearly. There is only now. And all the content of the mind in the now. So we want to watch this. We're observing whatever is going on right now. When you go into the future, make a note. Planning, imagining. If you go into the past, make a note. Remembering. And that should be enough. It doesn't matter what you're thinking about. It doesn't matter what event it was in the past that has triggered this thought, triggered this memory. Doesn't matter what it is. You don't need to note that party or that event. Just note that you're going into the past. That's the important thing. Note that the mind is wandering. The wandering mind, if you can watch the wandering mind skillfully, it will deliver you a great deal of wisdom. The wandering mind displays all the characteristics of impermanence, suffering and non-self. It's a wonderful object to note and know and let go of. But if you're not watching it, then you'll go into it and you'll just float around on the surface of the ocean, going here and there, wherever the current takes you, wherever the waves take you. You're just floating and moving around. So the wandering mind needs to be noted. Don't become upset with yourself. This is another aspect of this hindrance. Remorse. When we've done something wrong in the past and now we're thinking about it. I made a mistake. I made an error. And now you come back to revisit that on your meditation retreat. My greatest mistake. And you start thinking about it again and again. Don't do that. The retreat is not for you to go digging into your old traumas. Your retreat is for you to watch and know exactly what is arising in the present moment. Don't take it personally. Create space around it and let it go. Let it go by non-attachment. Let it go by non-identification. It's just a thing. It's not you. Know it as a thing. Know it as a mental phenomena. Very impermanent and conditioned one. Quite often the mind can become upset. We feel guilty for something. Or we have some fear or some anxiety that arises. Maybe it's some worries about finances, or maybe some of you are worried about your visa. It's a big worry for some people at the moment. Where to go, what to do. Life is uncertain. Life is uncertain. There's one certain thing, death. Death is certain. Life is uncertain. You can expect anything to happen. Yeah. We contemplate that. It's called Maranasati, mindfulness of death. It's good to reflect on death sometimes. wakes you up a little bit. Do you realize this thing is going to die? Don't miss your opportunity in practicing the teachings. As the Buddha says, there are these roots of trees, these empty huts. Meditate, monks, do not delay, or else you will regret it later. This is our instruction to you. If you have regrets, if you passed a decade of your life or some period of your life and you regret that, make a note of that regret. Make a note of that. That activity during that period of your life, you'll go through many periods of life. Teens, the 20s, early 20s, late 20s, mid-30s. It all goes pear-shaped. When you're 40, you wake up and say, what have I done with my life? I need to go to Koh Phangan and find out. It just keeps going on. Yes, all the answers are right here. Really, they are. Here you can really learn about the nature of your mind through many different modalities. This is one of them that we're offering. This one takes you all the way to the complete cessation of being, to an experience of that state beyond the sense of self. The Nibbanic bliss that the Buddha encourages us to experience. Stop worrying. When I was newly ordained, I became a monk when I was 24, had no idea about meditation. My teacher, Ajahn Lua, sat me down, taught me a little exercise to do. I did it for some weeks. Nothing's working. Became very worried that I was abnormal or something. You're not abnormal. He said, "ไม่ต้องคิดมาก." I didn't even understand Thai at that. คิดมาก. Don't think too much. No, it means worry. Don't worry. He would say it to me many times a day. Ajahn, it's not working. I can't do it. ไม่ต้องคิดมาก. Don't worry. Keep going. Make your mind present. Keep coming back. But it's going into the past. I'm thinking about my girlfriend. Come back. Keep coming back. Keep coming back to the present. And all your concerns and worries will disappear when you see things as they really are. And they did. Worries and concerns just evaporate when you see that your worry and your concern is just an impermanent mind state which is not you. It's only a concern if you take it personally. If you drop it, if somebody knocks on your door and hands you something, if you take it from them, it's now yours. If you open the door and say, "Oh, no thanks, we don't need that today," it's not yours. You didn't pick it up. You're not worried about it. You're not concerned about it. So don't pick up your worries. Don't pick up your guilt. Don't pick up your fear. Don't pick up your expectations. Note them. Just observe them objectively. See them, how they're conditioning the mind and causing trouble. Feel the freedom that you experience when you let go of a mental state. You'll all experience that this retreat. There'll be something that comes and comes and comes and comes and comes until you turn around and say, "Look, dude, I'm going to watch you now." And you start to watch it. You really start to observe it, not taking it personally, noting it. What happens? It loses its power when it's seen. When you shine a light on it, when you shine the light of wisdom, its characteristics manifest. We see it as impermanent and conditioned and non-self. We laugh at ourselves. I've been picking that up for 2 years now. This story I've been hanging on to creating a sense of identity out of this story, causing myself problems, causing other people's problems, because I refuse to let go of this idea. Drop it. Drop it and feel the freedom of what it's like to drop something. You're living with somebody, you're living with an ex-girlfriend or a boyfriend, and life is traumatic. You break up, you move out, you let go of that person. Freedom is yours. Do that with your own mental states. We all know, maybe you know, we're working at a job for a few years. We like the boss, but we're kind of tired of the work. We like the people that work in the office. We want to quit the job, but it's very uncomfortable to go and tell the boss, I want to quit. You like him, he likes you, you're friends. It's a very uncomfortable feeling, knowing that you're going to quit the job, but you haven't told them yet. You're worried about it, you feel anxious about it, you don't want to send that email, boss, we need to have a chat. You open his office door, you go in, you're feeling nervous and uncomfortable, I'm going to quit my job now. You tell him. He acts disappointed, but doesn't really care. Okay, well, good luck with your life. Okay. You turn around, walk out of the office, and say, it's done. Having a difficult conversation, just get it done. Do that with your mind. Observe what is causing you problems in your mind and drop it. Turn around and really watch it and let it go. Don't follow the story. This fourth hindrance is all about the story and the narrative of my life. My life is going on like this. I'm following that. This is who I am. All those kinds of stories, the narrative. It's a concept. It's a construction. Some of us try to tailor our story, make it look presentable, put it on social media. This is the story of my life. Don't follow the story if you want to let go of things. Notice when you're in a story and drop it. You'll have plenty of time after the retreat to lie in your hammock and think about yourself. Go back to your old ways, if you want to. Of course, we're hoping that you come out of the retreat being able to observe, to note and know what's going on, so that you can manage your experience. The fifth hindrance is called vicikiccha. It means skeptical doubt. It's uncertainty. When we have uncertainty in the mind, when we're not sure of something, we're confused about something. Should it be like this or should it be like that? I'm meditating, but should I do it this way or should I do it that way? I'll do a little bit this and then I do a little bit that. Oh, but that other teacher in Chiang Mai, he said that I should do, maybe I'll do a little bit of that. And but then there was that, I read in a book that we should do this in meditation. So you start to mix, start to bring in, start to put your fish sauce in your ice cream. Doesn't taste too good. Don't create uncertainty in the mind. If you notice that there's some uncertainty, if you're not sure about things, make a note of that uncertainty when it's present. Make sure that you note doubt when it's arising. Doubt can be very crippling. Doubt is the most dangerous of all the 5 hindrances. Doubt will block your meditation practice. You need to have confidence in yourself. You need to have confidence in several things. You need to have confidence, faith and confidence in your own ability to do the practice. That's number 1. You need to be sure. Yes, I'm a fit and healthy person. I can do this practice. I'm going to do this practice. Don't have any doubt. Don't entertain doubt. I'm not sure if I can do this. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe I'll do it next year. Don't go in there. Make a note of that doubt when it arises. Really penetrate that doubt. See the problem when it starts to arise. Catch it quickly. Maybe we've got some doubt about the teachings that are going on here. Not quite sure if I can believe that one. I'm not so sure about this Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha thing. Well, the Buddha probably was right about some, but I don't think he's right about that. Have a look, see if that's coming up in the mind. Have a look and see if you're trying to find some holes in the Buddha's teaching. If you find something that is wrong in the Buddha's teaching. I've been investigating the Buddha's teaching for almost 30 years. I've had a thorough examination and practice of the teaching. It's completely coherent. Okay, there's some cultural behaviors which are perhaps different from what the Buddha's teaching is. But the teaching as a whole is incredibly coherent and cohesive. It fits together very well. You won't find any holes in it. If you find a hole, come and ask me and I'll explain why it's not a hole. So if you experience doubt about the teaching, if you experience doubt about the Buddha's awakening, maybe you experience doubt about enlightened ones. Oh, there probably isn't any enlightened beings anymore. That was only 2,000 years ago. That's all finished. That's history. No, it's not. There are enlightened beings around. The Sangha still exists. The Dhamma is still rolling. The truth is available to everybody who wants to come and see. All you have to do is put your mind in the present moment and you'll see it. This week you have this opportunity, so don't waste it by having doubts about the veracity, about the truth of the Buddha's teaching. People have been doing this for 2,600 years. Do you think the teaching would maintain itself over 100 generations, over 26 centuries being passed down if it didn't work? Works very well. It has stood the test of time. Millions of people have practiced this teaching. Millions of people. Everywhere this teaching goes, into every community, every society, it establishes itself. Why? Because it's experienced by the wise for themselves. As soon as you do the practice, you experience it for yourself. You don't need anybody to tell you whether it's true or not. Someone else's opinion is unnecessary. It's self-experiential. So don't have any doubt about the teachings. Don't have any doubt about the meditation technique. The meditation technique has worked for millions of people all over Southeast Asia and increasingly for the last 50 years in the West as well. There are many meditation centers and many teachers who are practicing this type of meditation. You will have a good result from it if you do it thoroughly and properly. You need to be very methodical. One of the qualities of the Sangha, those members of the Sangha who have practiced straightforwardly, practiced masterfully, practiced methodically, practiced straightforwardly. You need to be methodic. You need to do it step by step, moment after moment, activating and generating awareness and wisdom in the present moment. Keep bringing your awareness back to the now and seeing what's there. If you find yourself lost, in doubt, make a note, doubting doubting, or restless, or tired, try to separate from that. If you're not quite fully understanding the whole big picture about the Buddha's teaching, just wait a few days and I'll try and answer your questions. As we go along with these talks, many things will be worked out for you. Philosophical doubts will become clear to you. If you don't believe, we're not asking you to believe in something blindly. We're asking you to do the practice and understand things. The Buddha's teaching is not about believing it. The Buddha's teaching is about understanding, not belief. Belief comes automatically when understanding is achieved. When you understand, your faith arises. When you see things as they really are, your faith and belief in the teaching becomes very, very strong. No one can tell you otherwise because you've seen it for yourself. So these 5 hindrances can cause a lot of trouble in our lives. From desirous thoughts of sensual things, aversions and irritations about other things, or just laziness and restlessness and doubt. These 5 hindrances need to be noted and known clearly. They are objects of our meditation practice, especially in the coming days. Until you get a handle on them, until you learn to work with them and manage them, then you'll have to continuously note and become aware of them. Don't get trapped. Don't get trapped in them. And you'll be able to let them go. And again, if your mind does keep wandering, don't be upset about it. That's the nature of the mind. We don't get upset at the rain. What does rain do? It falls from the sky. That's just what it is. Nothing to get upset about. We don't get upset, oh, this water is not the same as the water in the ocean. Why would you get upset about that? We just notice, it's just water. Just that. It feels wet and cool. Might be actually pleasant. Who would have thought? You can turn an experience from one thing into another just by looking at it differently. We don't need to change the world. We're not trying to change the world. The world is manifesting in its own way. Karmic manifestation is ongoing and continuous. You're not going to stop it. It's not going to adjust for you. You need to adjust to it. You need to be able to manage yourself, manage your mind to the outside world and the people that are in it. And you will be constantly bombarded by pleasantness and unpleasantness. This is the nature of being a human being. Welcome to humanity. This mind and body process is not all fun and games. It's the karmic resultant of your volitional intentions. It's a resultant. It's something that you have to carry around with you. Something you have to take care of. Something you have to put it down and make it go to sleep. To do all those things. So look out for that. Look out for these hindrances. Don't let them get you down. Sit up. Notice when they're present. Accept that they're there. Accept that they are occurring. Doesn't mean you have to like them. You just know that this is an impermanent mind state and it's going to pass away. As soon as you recognize it like that, it's gone. But if you go into the story, then it stays and swirls around, causing trouble. On each rotation, you get slapped. I'll ask to stop now. I think it's enough for this morning. Please continue with your walking and your sitting meditation, noting, knowing, and letting go.